Welcome back to some of the best stories from r/TalesFromTechSupport. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's take a look at the first story. It's called User Sly. One of my clients was expanding into more space, next door to the existing office space, and as a result needed a new Ethernet switch. The existing switches were very old, that previous IT firms had installed, and I convinced them to let me replace everything with a nice pair of 48-port switches and a nice compact wall mount rack. The office manager and I scheduled the upgrade for a weekend, and she emailed the staff to let them know they shouldn't come in if they needed access to the computer systems. I came in as planned with my part-time assistant. We did the upgrade, tested everything and went home. One of those projects that went as well as it possibly could. On Monday morning, I got a call from the office manager. One of the staff's systems is as dead as a doornail, and the user is blaming it on the upgrade, demanding a replacement. In the background, I hear her say, "And tell him it needs to be a better one," basically causing all kinds of Monday morning drama. I knew it wasn't related to replacing the old switches, of course. The user is one of those high maintenance types who always blames her computer or the server for her problems, even though that's never been the case. But regardless of what caused it, I still had to go on site and fix it, so off I went. When I arrived, the user had the system pulled out and sitting on her desk with a note that said, "Broken by IT guy over the weekend. Replace immediately." And of course, said user was nowhere to be found. I hooked it back up, and sure enough, it wouldn't power up. Since the user wasn't there, I went ahead and stayed at her desk and opened the case up, figuring maybe it was something straightforward. As soon as I opened it up, it was apparent someone had intentionally broken it. The video card was broken, and the power feed to the motherboard had been pulled out and cracked with a pair of pliers. I took a quick photo and got the office manager to take a look. Manager freaks, of course, tracks down the user, gets her back to her desk. Situation rapidly deteriorates, with accusations flying. I finally had to go to the server, and with the office manager and owner looking over my shoulder and having me explain every step of what I'm doing, go through the logs, and prove that the user had logged in on that system for a few minutes, first thing that day, and then logged off, meaning the system had been working when she arrived. They were beyond upset, told me to take the broken system back to my office and fix it or replace it, and after I left, sat down with the user, got her to admit she'd damaged the computer. Her reason? She felt like she deserved a faster one, and fired her. Got back to my office, and there was an email waiting for me, telling me to disable her account and bring the system back immediately, as they were going to take the cost of it out of her last check, and wanted to keep the system as evidence in case she filed for unemployment benefits. The next story is called That Guy. A friend made me aware of a fairly lucrative position at a local manufacturing plant, which pays very well for my area and would be a huge step up from what I was doing at a local college, which had elements akin to help desk support, but was explicitly not an IT role. However, I think having worked with a ticketing system and 15 plus years of personal tinkering with computing helped me land the job, and I was thrilled. There are 2 of us in support for over 500 users, so we provide level 1, 2 and 3 support. I really wanted to make a good impression, so I dived into resolving my first ever help desk tickets in my life, with help from my supervisor, who is exceptionally helpful, but can have a bit of a temper at times. Not towards the staff, but useless users. Day 2 swings around, and I'm feeling positive. A new ticket comes in. I have changed the user's name involved to Jeff. Jeff puts in a ticket, saying an Access database. Yes, we use a massive site-wide Access database. Was throwing an error. I contact him through Teams chat, as most users use that instead of calling. Access database has an error. I need this to do my job and report crucial statistics. I'm exceptionally busy. It needs fixing now. Okay, my supervisor has informed me we can resolve this by reinstalling the application. It's a relatively quick fix. but you will be unable to work for 20 minutes while we configure it on your laptop. 5 minutes pass. This is unacceptable. You said it would be fixed in 20 minutes. I was wondering how 5 minutes now means 20 minutes. Office is just reinstalling, which includes Access. As you can see from the progress bar, it's about 33% done. Please bear with it as it completes. No, this is unacceptable. Cancel the installation now so I can go back to working. I will be making a complaint. At this point, I am terrified. No one treated me like this at my last job. Now someone is making a complaint on my second day in IT. I try to be polite and say I will leave the ticket open and pending until we get the issue resolved for him. Before I can even walk down the corridor to explain to my supervisor, I hear him speaking with a raised voice on the phone. If the application is so crucial to your job, why won't you let my staff work on resolving it for you? Until you provide us with an hour of your time when we can work on your laptop, the ticket will be on hold. It is now your responsibility to book that time in your calendar for us to complete the work. It has now been 3 months and Jeff has requested that we take his laptop and install the Office package and configure the database overnight, requiring us to stay after hours. We are salaried 8:30 AM to 5 PM, which was refused, and after asking when the ticket will be resolved 3 times, to which we responded that it was his responsibility to find the time, as we had tried to accommodate him multiple times, and we were told he is too busy. I raised it with my supervisor again. Now I know why he's appreciated. Close the ticket, buddy. I guarantee you when you close it, he will call again, and he will be denied a final time. I closed the ticket and he called instantly, got told somewhat politely where to shove it, and next time if he has an urgent job that needs completing, to be cooperative. I love having supportive superiors who tell users what's what when they are acting like idiots. The third story is called Fastest Fix. I had a minor midlife crisis after turning 30. I quit a very lucrative IT job and decided to build and fix race cars and classics. I started an LLC and partnered with a friend who owned a performance shop. One day, the owner's brother came into the shop. He had just bought a Lexus and couldn't get the monitor to turn on. This was not a factory installed touchscreen. There was an aftermarket screen installed, rather nicely, in the dash, which went down to a DVD player unit in the center console. I was the electronics whiz in the shop, so they asked me if I'd hop off my current job and take a look at it, as he was in a hurry. Owner said since it was his brother and it was a favor, I didn't have to split any of the rate with him. His brother promised a minimum billable hour. If I fixed it in 30 minutes, I still get paid an hour. I opened the car door, opened the center console where the DVD player was, turned on the DVD player, and then flipped the switch labeled power on the side of the console. The monitor turned on, and everything was working as expected. The owner busted up laughing and said, "Pay the man." With a sad frown, his brother handed me $80 and said something like, "I never thought about looking for a power switch." Apparently, when he bought the car, the switch was on, so if the car had power, the screen was on. Then something in the console bumped the switch, and he hadn't been able to figure out how to turn it back on. The last story is called The Box. I have the box. You know the one. We all have it. A box full of cords and adapters that we hoard because we might need them. Well, my mother hates cords and cables because they are messy. For the longest time, the box was her nemesis. She hated the box, and the box hated her. About 4 years ago, she snuck the box into the pile of stuff for a garage sale and sold it. The entire box was gone in seconds. After the garage sale is done and I am back from helping a friend set up some furniture in their new apartment, she hands me $10 and says the box of cords sold. I was very confused and then ran to my room to find my box missing. Needless to say, I was annoyed. Little did we know, the box would have its revenge. About a week later, she comes to me, asking if I had a USB to micro USB cable for her phone. I reply very calmly with a smile, "Let me check my box." She then frowns and says, "Oh." The next day, she asks if I had a power cable for her monitor. that she decided she wanted to use after letting it sit for 4 months. I replied again with, "Let me check my box." This struck home my point, I guess, because she has been an avid defender of the new box ever since. This brings us to last week. My grandmother finds one of my boxes. Yes, I have multiple now, in her garage, and sets it with garage sale stuff. My family live with my grandparents, and my mother still does, as they aren't as spry as they used to be. I was outside moving stuff into position for the sale when I hear my grandma and mother arguing quite loudly. I wander in and find the two standing over a box, yelling at each other. Mother screamed, "Don't you dare sell that box. It is important." Grandma yells, "It's a box full of cables and it's taking up space." So I said I could just take the box over to my place. Grandma shouts, "Fine." Grandma then stormed out of the room, and I stuck the box over in a corner by the stuff I was taking. A few days later, my grandma calls, asking if I had a power cable for her laptop, since hers broke. Lo and behold, there was one in the box. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.